one of the guys who were first managed by Dana White before he owned the UFC.
Yes.
Right?
I think he's very modest. He doesn't like to talk about how he's one of the best trainers out. He owns one of the best gyms out in the entire country. He's very popular with the ladies.
So this guy Tiki, he is very connected with the UFC. And I go on Twitter, I say, hey, you know what, this guy's a groomer, potential pedophile.
For all the Tiki Ghosn fans out there worldwide, can we get a message for them?
Yeah, sure. Schmo, because you're about the only one I have. I really like your attire.
He never won a UFC fight. He got knocked out, choked out, and even laughed off live on air. But don't let the losses fool you, because Tiki Ghosn became something far more powerful than just a fighter. He helped build MMA's first super team. He opened one of the most legendary gyms in the game, and today he manages some of the UFC's biggest stars. This is the untold story of Tiki Ghosn, from humble beginnings to the business brain behind championship belts. If you're into stories about the forgotten warriors, the behind-the-scenes legends, and the ones who built MMA from the ground up, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's dive into the rise and reinvention of Tiki Ghosn. Born on February 9th, 1977 in Huntington Beach, California, Khalil Tiki Ghosn didn't start in a cage. He started on the football field. A standout defensive back at Mater Dei High School, Tiki played on their national championship team in 1995.
Hey, Tiki, people don't believe us that Mater Dei, the school is so tough, we have our own obituary column in the school newspaper.
Hey, there was multiple shootings and stabbings outside of the school when I was going there.
He had dreams of the NFL until Muay Thai came calling.
I was about 18 years old when I discovered kickboxing, and soon after that, one of my buddies got me into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's like, man, you gotta come try Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, what? You gotta put this gi on. I'm like, I'm wearing a fucking gi? This is stupid. But I ended up doing it. I was getting choked and submitted left and right, and I was like, all right, this is kind of fun.
What began as cross-training for football turned into a new obsession. Soon he dropped football entirely, trading in cleats for shin guards. By the late 90s, MMA was just finding its feet in America. Tiki Ghosn was ready to jump in headfirst. Before the UFC boom, before the sponsorship deals and title fights, Tiki Ghosn met a man who would soon become the most powerful figure in MMA, Dana White. In the late 90s, Dana was managing fighters, not running the UFC. He saw something in Tiki early, the grit, the charisma, the drive. So he took him on as one of his very first clients. Alongside Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, Tiki Ghosn became one of the first 4 fighters ever managed by Dana White.
So, oddly enough, my first manager was Dana White.
Really?
So I was one of the, I was one of the first 4 MMA fighters that he was representing. It was myself, it was John Lewis, Chuck Liddell, and Tito Ortiz.
Wow, what year was this when you started working with him?
This was 2000.
Okay. How did you link up with him?
So back in the day, Tito and I were traveling to Las Vegas to train with John Lewis. And that's kind of like where the whole Tito and Chuck saga started, because they, we were all training together. And John Lewis had met Dana and was kind of showing jiu-jitsu to the Fertittas and Dana White. And that's kind of how we all linked together.
Wow.
That relationship would last decades. Even after Dana became UFC president, their connection remained strong, and that bond would open doors for Tiki that few others had access to. It wasn't just about business. It was trust, forged before the spotlight hit.
So how does it feel to be part of the team now?
Oh, it's fucking amazing. I've never felt this good in my whole life.
Tiki's MMA debut came in 1998, the Wild West days of the sport. At just 21, he faced future legend Genki Sudo. The result? A draw, until Boss Rutan, Sudo's coach, protested the decision, and it got overturned. Welcome to MMA in the 90s. Still, Tiki pressed on. He won by guillotine choke in early 1999. Picked up a decision win that summer, and in February 2000, beat Jason Maxwell at King of the Cage 2. These weren't arenas. These were gymnasiums, fairgrounds, casinos.
Anybody in here that's fighting for these shows or putting the time to fight an amateur show like this, doing what you're doing, don't stop, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Anything you put your mind to, you can achieve. And it starts shows as small as this. Like I said, when I first started, I fought in a show that was smaller than this. It's like in a nightclub.
But they forged the foundation. Tiki was a gritty, relentless welterweight, and the UFC took notice. Around this time, a brash new star was rising, Tito Ortiz, also from Huntington Beach, also fearless. Together with Tiki and kickboxer Rob McCullough, they founded Team Punishment. It became one of MMA's most recognizable fight camps. Tiki trained with future champions daily, including a young Rampage Jackson.
We go back ever since I moved here. I moved here over 20-something years ago, and I was training with you and Tiki at Team Punishment. Who else was over there? Mayhem Miller?
Tito.
As Tito conquered the UFC's light heavyweight division, Tiki was right there, sharpening skills, taking notes, and waiting for his shot.
I don't know, Tiki's gay. You guys don't know that yet? Oh my God.
So what was it that got you your break? How did you get to the next level?
What? I can't even remember. I just remember beating ass. I just came in there, started fucking people up, and the next thing you know, getting the big show.
Tiki's UFC debut came at UFC 24. He lost via rear naked choke. He got another shot at UFC 30 against Sean Strickland, but dislocated his shoulder mid-fight. Still, he rebuilt, picked up wins on the regional circuit until UFC 40, the biggest event of the era. His opponent, a 20-year-old wrecking ball named Robbie Lawler.
Overrated. I think he got caught up in all the hype. He's fought some, average opponents. No, I think he's going to fight someone who's actually a mirror image of him, and see if he can deal with the punches, if he can deal with someone being able to take those punches and give them right back.
Lawler dropped him cold in 89 seconds, but the real moment came after the fight. Blood dripping down his face, the commentator asked Tiki if he regretted calling Lawler overrated. Tiki looked straight at the camera and said they stopped it because of a cut.
Tiki, you said he was a little overrated. Did you take that back right about now?
Would I take it back? No, I got a cut. They stopped it because of a cut.
That one line entered MMA history. Even Robbie Lawler laughed years later.
I think I was in the corner when you fought Tiki.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Tiki's corner.
Shit, he almost kicked me in the face.
That was a good fight, too. So it was my friend, but I was hey.
He did an interview and he was talking shit.
Tiki got one more shot at UFC 47 and was submitted by Chris Lytle. 0-4 in the UFC, all by stoppage. For most fighters, that would be the end, but not for Tiki. Even while fighting, Tiki was building something bigger. On January 1st, 2001, he opened the Huntington Beach Ultimate Training Center, one of the first full-service MMA gyms in the country, and the original home of legends Tito Ortiz, Rampage Jackson, Michael Bisping, and Cheikh Kongo.
How did you meet Quentin? How long do you know him for?
Shit, I've known Quentin ever since I opened my gym, 2001. Quentin used to actually walk to my gym. He didn't even have a car.
Tiki wasn't just a fighter anymore. He was a gym owner, a coach, and a mentor. He taught classes, cornered fights, and slowly transformed from competitor to kingmaker.
Remember when Tiki had the gym opening and all the fighters were lined up, Kendall and Tito, and Baroni was hitting mitts in the middle of the parking lot? Some good times back in the day, man.
Ever since the UFC got on Spike and everybody and their mom wants to be an Ultimate Fighter now, and everybody knows the sport and everybody wants to tell you how to do it, you get a lot more fans coming in, you get a lot more people interested in signing up and trying it out. So that definitely helps with business. The main source of income is the gym.
In 2008, after years of hard battles, he picked up a win in Strikeforce, then another in 2009. He walked away with a 10-8 record with one no contest. But his real fight was just beginning. In 2009, Tiki stepped onto the biggest stage in coaching, the Ultimate Fighter Season 10. He was on Team Rampage's staff and instantly made his presence felt.
Teams are going to be Rampage and Tiki, of course.
He clashed with Rashad Evans on camera.
Hey, Rashad, last fight. Rashad's last fight, he did the stanky leg in the fight.
When Rashad mocked his 0-4 record and his bleached beard, Tiki fired back. I'll fight you in the parking lot right now. It never went down, but the moment became reality TV gold.
See, when Tiki, when he was by himself, he had very minimal to say.
Hey, let's go eat. I'll be a bitch. I'll show you. Hey, Tiki, why don't you go away so his boss can go away and he can act like he normally do?
I just saved your life. I just saved your life.
Okay. I went to Tiki MySpace the other day. He got a page just full of for Rampage pictures, him and Rampage. And one of the pictures, Rampage just hit him in the nuts and he's like this.
Damn, dude.
Tiki returned in 2011 for Tough 14 as a guest coach for Team Bisping. To fans, he was more than the guy who lost in the UFC. He was now the coach with the experience, the voice in the corner, and the heart behind the gloves.
He ended up putting highway barricades completely around Tiki, Escalade, so he couldn't get out.
Someone's probably told my car. It was a kind of a cool prank, I guess. It's kind of.
Bisping and Tiki poked their head into our locker room. By the time I realized something was up, it was too late. I can't breathe.
Scurried out of the room like a bunch of rats right into a mariachi band. What the was that?
Bravo! Bravo, Tiki! Bravo!
High five!
In the 2010s, Tiki Ghosn evolved once again. He launched Arsenal Sports Agency, his own fighter management company. He had lived every side of the game: fighter, trainer, gym owner, and now manager.
It actually fell into my lap. I was basically coaching and training fighters as well. Rampage Jackson came back and said, hey man, I need your help. And I said, all right, what do you need? He's like, I need a manager. I said, all right, let's do it. At the time, he found himself in a bad spot in between organizations, in lawsuits, and he was in bad shape and got him out of that. And here we are.
This is a new venture for you, and you're repping some of the top names in the sport.
You know, you meet the guys, you start to train them, and then you start to care about whether they win or lose. And next thing you know, if they lose, you connect with them, so you get irritated. It starts to get you in a bad mood.
I mean, how many guys are you training at once? What does this entail?
You train a lot of fighters, but if you're running a specific camp for somebody who has a fight coming up,
on the one guy who has a fight.
Right.
I mean, I love it. It's something that I've been able to do after fighting that keeps me in it, aside from coaching. Coaching is one of my passions as well.
And not just any fighters. Tiki's client list became stacked. Dustin Poirier, Aljamain Sterling, Brian Ortega, Rampage Jackson, Michael Bisping, BJ Penn, Chael Sonnen, all managed under the man who never won in the UFC, but gained something even more valuable: respect.
Fighter to trainer is a natural move. We see that quite often, but fighter to trainer to manager is not a move that we often see.
What's funny is, back in the day, we used to do this and fend for ourselves with sponsors. Like, that's what I did, and basically hustle for myself. So doing this from so long ago, it has helped me, and it's actually shaped me into being able to acquire deals for my athletes.
Even today, Tiki walks into arenas and gyms and people recognize him. Not for titles, but for legacy.
What do you think you were able to do in your contract negotiations that other managers he's had weren't able to do?
I've been in this industry for quite a while, and I've kept very good contacts. You know, I've got a good network, and one thing that I kind of pride myself on is I never burn a bridge, and I never, I'm not the type of person who's going to screw somebody over.
This is a relationship-based business, and I've kept really good relationships with, Scott Coker, Dana White, the people that, you need to know in this business.
I've been there. I understand the game. I understand the perspective from the promoter. I understand the perspective from the fighter, and I'm able to reach a deal that works for everybody.
Do you feel like your experiences as a fighter, dealing with managers, dealing with promoters, but do you feel like this has helped you become a better manager?
Right now, the MMA landscape for managers and whatnot is kind of like the wild, wild west. There's not a lot of guys that have been in it from the beginning. There's not a lot of people that understand the sport from the beginning, and they think they can just come in and push their way through everything. Doesn't matter who they piss off. Doesn't matter who they cause friction with.
His trademark beard, bleached and lined.
Tiki, I envy you. You're my hero. If I could only grow the goatee like you, bro, then I'd become a man. Until then, I'm still just a boy.
I'm gonna grow a Tiki beard. I'm gonna sit home on Friday nights and put the Q-tip in the dye and dye it.
I don't do it.
Can you imagine how much fucking time and effort he puts into doing that thing? I think I've known Tiki for 9 or 10 years, and he's been doing that for 10 years.
His booming laugh, his loyalty.
To both of you guys.
He's infatuated with me, and for some reason thinks that I'm on fucking steroids, okay? Tiki isn't bright enough to figure out what dudes that are on steroids look like and what normal dudes look like. You know what I'm on? I'm on fucking pizza, chicken fingers, and cheeseburgers, okay?
Somebody's eating good. That's what that means.
He built Team Punishment, he built HBUTC, and now he builds champions. Outside of the cage, Tiki Ghosn has always carried a low-key presence. A sharp contrast to the louder personas around him in MMA. Physically, even pushing 50, Ghosn still looks like a fighter. Fit, athletic, and instantly recognizable. During the late 2000s, he drew some tabloid attention for a brief romance with UFC ring girl Ariane Celeste, and in 2010, he appeared as a contestant on the reality dating show The Ultimate Merger, adding an unexpected twist to his public profile.
I train every day and I fight the toughest people in the world.
I'm a good girl and a party girl.
I'm not into a girl that'll throw herself at me. So, do you usually go for bad boys?
Depends.
Was this real, this blind date thing a while back?
That was 100% real.
Yeah. So tell people what happened. They set you up with some Hooters chick. She's hot, but she's clearly a complete idiot. How early on do you realize she's a moron? And then from the TV side, aren't the people there like, dude, what are you doing? You got to play it up more.
Well, I realized very quickly she was an idiot, and I was looking at her going, yeah. And I'm sure everybody was going, dude, come on, at least bone her. But she was just way too stupid and young, and then that comes, been with 8 dudes in the past week, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I made a good choice. I think I dodged a fucking atom bomb on that one.
Despite these brief forays into the spotlight, Ghosn generally avoided media attention outside the sport and kept his personal life private. However, that changed in 2024 when rumors began to circulate, sparked by UFC fighter Sean Strickland. In August 2024, former UFC champion Sean Strickland publicly accused Tiki Ghosn of serious misconduct. Strickland said he left HB Ultimate Training Center after learning of an alleged incident involving a female fighter, claiming he'd spoken with the woman and her father, and was prepared to crowdfund legal defense if Ghosn pursued defamation charges.
What I'm saying, it's not fact. I can't prove it. This is an allegation. It may or may not be true. I will just tell you my story and I will let you decide. So, I was at a gym, and I don't need to go into details, but something really bad happened with a girl and a fighter. At that point on, I was like, I will never go back to HB Ultimate. I will never go back to this gym. I think you are the worst of the worst. If you can do that, I'm done with you. So fast forward, someone comes up to me and says, hey Sean, you should really let Tiki manage you. He's a great manager, he's very connected, he'll make you a ton of money. And I say, you know what? I will never be in the same room with this guy, much less let him manage me. I don't care how much money he makes me. And there's a guy that heard the conversation. He says, you think that's bad? Let me tell you what he did with this guy's daughter, who I've known for years. And I'm like, oh shit, tell me. So he tells me, and I go to the guy that says, hey, you wanted me to manage this guy, let me tell you this story. And this guy says, fuck, how did you know about that? So I go on Twitter and I make a joke about, like I do. I say, hey, you know what? This guy's a groomer, potential pedophile. This is what I could. It's not confirmed. It's not slander. It's not defamation. This is just what I heard.
Strickland later added that multiple credible women had reached out to him privately with similar claims and that he was ready to present their testimonies to UFC officials.
So I get a word to the bird, the chain, that this guy is thinking about suing me for defamation. Which, I don't know how, I'm not saying you did or didn't, I'm just saying this is what I heard. So, I reach out to the father of the girl. The girl is married, great life, has kids, and I say, hey, I will pursue this, and I will go to court, and I will crowdfund this whole thing, but I need to know if you're okay with it, if your daughter's okay with it. Because if you aren't, I'm not going to say one damn word, and I'm going to let it die. So he gets back to me, he called his daughter, and his daughter, I guess, was pretty emotional about the whole thing, and she said that we 100% support you, and he said there are levels to it that she couldn't even talk about because it was that traumatizing to her. Do I know if it's true? No. I know that I don't work with this guy. I know that I see this guy everywhere. I see him at events, I see him front row to fights, I see this man shaking hands everywhere, and I know this about him. Do I know if it's true? No. But I've heard it from credible sources, from the father. The girl would come forward. So, Tiki, what I say to you is, if you want to sue me for slander, defamation, I am not slandering you. I am not making this up. This is what was told to me by the girl's father. If you want to sue me, I will crowdfund this and we will go to court and I will fight you. And to the point of you suing me and trying to keep my mouth shut, to the point of that, I left that post up for about, 3-4 hours, and I kept Googling Tiki. I kept Googling his name. When is someone going to write an article about what I said? And nothing. Crickets. I can't sneeze without the MMA press writing an article. And I drop a bomb like that and nobody says anything. That is how deeply this man's connected. That is how deeply you have to shut up and toe the line. But Tiki, I will not. I talked to the girl. I talked to the girl's father. We are willing to go to court. Bring it on, Tiki. I'm ready for you.
And I got to say something about Sean Strickland. I don't got no problem with him. But he did kind of come after my manager a little bit, and fuck all the bullshit. Tiki been my friend for over 20 years, and I know like some of the backstory about that whole story because I was around. So a lot of the shit that he said that it wasn't really true, and I was like, oh, and I kind of know the backstory about what happened. So did y'all see that picture of him looking gay with the other fighter, Mike Borg? Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
It went viral. You seen that picture?
Yeah, long hair and the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I seen that picture.
I'm ground zero.
Oh, you started it?
To date, no lawsuit has been filed, and Ghosn has offered no public response, leaving the claims unverified but casting a shadow over his reputation. Tiki Ghosn may have gone 0-4 in the UFC, but he's victorious in life after the octagon. Ghosn's journey from scrappy welterweight to respected executive shows the power of reinvention. He's played nearly every role in MMA: fighter, trainer, mentor, and businessman. Each chapter, including the setbacks, fueled his growth. He took the hits, took the L's, and came back stronger, smarter, and sharper. He turned pain into purpose, losses into lessons, and carved out a role that changed fighters' lives. In a game that forgets its pioneers, Tiki Ghosn is a reminder that legacy isn't just measured in wins, it's measured in impact.
You like Strickland?
I don't really like him.
No?
Go against the grain, but I don't think he should be saying all the shit he be saying.
Yeah.
He be saying some fucked up shit about people. He's a funny looking motherfucker too.
If you like this story, make sure to check out our breakdown of Yoel Romero's $27 million steroid scandal, one of the wildest chapters in MMA history.